Lately, a lot of aspiring freelancers have been asking me if it's worth freelancing in this economy. And I understand there's been a lot of talk about recessions and this economy and layoffs. But what I want to tell you today is that this is actually the perfect time to start freelancing. In fact, maybe the best time in history. Welcome to the Freelance Unlocked podcast, hosted by me, Haley Davidson. I quit my corporate marketing job at 23 to freelance full time. Since then, I've tripled my income, work just 20 hours per week or less, and get to work from anywhere in the world. But like many new freelancers, when I first got started, I was underpaid, overworked, and disrespected by clients. In this podcast, you're going to learn how I turned the tables and unlocked true freedom and started living my dream life through freelancing. And here's a spoiler alert. My success started from the inside out. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's get started. So lately, I have just seen so much negativity about the economy on social media in my inbox. One freelancer I follow, she just sent a newsletter out that was like about the lows of her freelance career this year. And there was so much blame in it about losing clients because of the economy. And you know what? Maybe it's kind of true. A lot of companies have done layoffs or budget cuts. But I think this kind of talk is frustrating to me because it is such a, what's the right word? Such a blanket statement. You know, a lot of freelancers, like me included, work in the tech industry, and the tech industry has been impacted this year. There have been layoffs. But by the way, the tech industry is notoriously unpredictable, a little unstable, because that's the nature of tech startups. So to say that the economy sucks and that's why we're losing clients or contracts are ending, I think it really just puts so much fear into people that kind of makes me mad. So today we're going to talk about, this economy. Is now the right time to start freelancing? Is the economy even good? Is the economy really that bad? Personally, my business has grown like crazy lately. It's actually tripled in the past 6 months. And I know lots of other business owners and freelancers who've experienced the same thing. So why are some people succeeding in this economy and blowing up their freelance businesses and others aren't? Is it worth starting or continuing to freelance today in this economy? Okay, so let's get into it. Let's first answer the question, is the economy really that bad? And first off, obviously, I am not an economic expert. I did take some economics classes in college, but they almost killed me. So when I started researching all these like stats and phrases and terminologies like GDP were confusing. But I did find some research and I want to talk to you about it because I think it's helpful to know the facts, right? Like I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in manifestation, but I know for a lot of people, just telling you to be positive is not going to be enough to like shake this belief that the economy is bad and that it's not worth starting to freelance, right? So let's be realistic and let's just talk about it instead of making assumptions. I have seen that there is a lot of money changing hands in 2023. And as you're going to see in a second when I read you these percentages and these stats, there is absolutely no reason that you can't start getting some of that money for yourself. There is literally zero reason that you can't earn 6 figures as a freelance right now, that you can't, if you're working 9 to 5, start earning $5,000 a month on the side as a freelancer. As long as you are providing real value to the clients you work with, as long as you're showing up consistently, putting yourself out there, nurturing your network, you can do this. Like the reason that a lot of people think the economy is so bad is that inflation is crazy. I mean, I don't know if you guys have looked at rent prices lately, but I'm trying to move in the next few months and it's scary, right? Like groceries are still out of this world. Inflation is real. But the economy in America is actually doing pretty good. I would recommend just Googling it because I was like Googling, is the economy slowing down in the US? And it was actually pretty good. I mean, apparently we've had the best recovery post COVID panini pandemic of a lot of the other, I guess they're called the G7 countries. Guys, don't even test me on it. I don't know what that means. This is just what I was Googling. My point is that America is doing all right besides the inflation. But inflation doesn't really affect or doesn't directly affect the money that companies can pay to freelancers. If anything, it means you can raise your prices, right? So it's pretty good. But I did read, so getting into some of the research around this, there's one survey that a company did. What company was it? That revealed that marketing budgets in 2023 make up 9% of the total company's revenue. So that means that if a company earns $1 million or $1 billion a year, they usually they're on average allocating 9% of that to marketing, right? So marketing, I'm mentioning because I'm a marketer, and I am assuming most of you listening are either creatives or marketers who have a background in the corporate world, okay? So if we look at this, 9.1% of total company revenue is being allocated to marketing in 2023. Now, that's been pretty flat, but according to the survey, it has gone down since 2022, but it's only gone down by 0.4%. So 9.5% of company revenue was allocated to marketing in 2022. 9.1% is allocated in 2023. So not that much of a difference. There is still plenty of money to pay freelancers, and companies are still investing in marketing. So then I found, and I'll link this, I'm going to actually link this article in the show notes because I think it kind of blew my mind and it will really help you to see this. But Neil Patel, who's a really big SEO guy, he has a pretty huge content marketing agency, really great teacher and educator. He did a survey of over 8,000 marketers across industries. And in those industries, they were increasing their budgets across multiple different areas of marketing. So out of the 8,000 marketers surveyed, 68% of companies are increasing their SEO budgets in 2023. In the same survey, out of those 8,000 marketers, 83% of them are increasing their content production budgets. So designers, video editors, you are in a perfect position to freelance in 2023. And then in the same survey, again, a lot of marketers were surveyed, and 56% of them were increasing their email marketing budget, and 92%, holy crap, 92% were increasing their podcast budgets. All right, so across different areas of marketing, companies are increasing their budgets. So if your skills fall under one of these categories, then that means you're in a perfect position, because why do companies hire freelancers? Because they're looking for specialized skills. So as someone that does SEO, I'm an SEO strategist and SEO writer. That's what I do for my freelance business. And we've grown because, like I said, 68% of companies are increasing their SEO budget. By the way, that's because SEO has better return than paid ads and other types of marketing, but I won't get into that. I love SEO. It's great. And if any of you guys are SEOs, you seriously need to get on freelancing, because there is a supply problem with freelancing, not a demand problem, right? The last people I want to speak to are the graphic designers. So like I said, graphic design kind of falls under content production, and people are increasing those budgets. But I also found this article that will be linked in the show notes from CNBC that said that graphic design is actually one of the top freelance jobs that are in demand. It is one of the top skill sets that are in demand. So graphic designers are charging like $150 or more per hour. They are in such huge demand across multiple companies. So if you're a freelancer, if you're a freelance graphic designer, get out there. You've got this. There is a huge demand for you. The last stat that I want to mention, you guys, is according to a report by Upwork, 66% of companies are planning to hire more freelance talent in the next few years. They're planning on increasing their budgets for freelance talent. So let's ask the question again. Should you freelance in this economy? And the answer is absolutely. I hope you're saying hell yes. Right now is a great time. And by the way, it's interesting. So the economy, we can have a blanket statement about the economy, and I just was talking about how I don't like that, right? Because people who work in the tech industry, maybe they feel like the layoffs are coming, they feel like the economy is really bad. And people in other industries feel like the economy is great and their businesses are exploding. So it does depend on which industry you work in, but we're going to talk about how you can make money no matter the economy, no matter your industry in a minute. But first, I do want to address the question, should you lower your rates if your industry has been affected by the economy? So if, again, I work in the tech industry, so if my industry was struggling and having layoffs and their budgets were getting cut, should I lower my rates in order to keep getting work? And this might be controversial, but my answer to you would be absolutely not. Instead, you should focus on being the absolute best freelancer they've ever had so that with their limited budgets, they will still work with you, right? Because the work you do is so valuable that even if they can only hire you for 10 hours a month, it's worth it. So this goes back to a principle I teach in my program, Freelance Unlock Foundations. In the program, we talk about how when you get less work at a higher rate, it still means you're going to get the same or more money than if you got more work at lower rates. So you really should not lower your rates to get more work. Instead, maybe less people can hire you or you get less work. But if you're getting paid the higher rates that you want to charge and you're getting less work, well, you can use all the extra time you have to go find more clients, to learn new skills, to do whatever you need to do to get more work. It's a losing battle if you lower your rates. And one of the big reasons for that is because if you lower your rates, guess what? You're going to keep attracting people with smaller budgets. If I lower my rate with this person, they're going to tell all their friends, look at this cheap freelancer I hired, and you're going to keep attracting those people with smaller budgets. But if you can position yourself, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but if you can position yourself as a premium service, as a great freelancer, as someone who does an amazing job and provides a lot of value, you can still continue to charge those higher rates. Again, maybe you'll get less work, but that's all right. You can continue to charge those higher rates, and then you'll get referred out to people who have the budget to pay you. So it really comes down to that, right? So a quick example here. If I had a client in the past who could only pay me $3,000 a month, the question then would be, well, how much should I charge per hour? Is it better to charge $150 per an hour and get that $3,000 a month? I can only work 20 hours, but my work is so effective. I've built so much trust with the client. I really have a deep understanding of their brand that they're okay with only having me 20 hours a month. And I'm literally getting paid $3,000 for that. That is much better than me saying, oh, you only have $3,000. Well, I guess I can make my hourly rate $50 an hour. And then I have to now all of a sudden work so many hours each month. I can't even do the math right now, y'all. But let's say 60 hours, 80 hours a month, when instead I could be charging the higher rate, working less hours, doing great work for the client, but then I have all this extra time to just chill or better, go find more clients that, maybe I have multiple clients with small budgets that can only pay me $3,000 a month, but that's better than killing yourself charging $50 an hour and then you have to work so many hours just to pay your bills. So hopefully this is making sense, okay? Now, let's talk about how no matter the economy, even if you disagree with me, even if you think the economy just sucks, how can we make money no matter the economy? And this is a really important thing to discuss, and it's actually a skill that I think every freelancer should learn because inevitably the economy is going to go up and down. During COVID, a lot of people were laid off. The economy crashed for a lot of people. Now, again, someone's always making money in every economy because some businesses exploded during the pandemic. The economy will always be a little unpredictable. So the more that we can learn to make money regardless of the economy, regardless of our clients' budgets, the better. And the more stable and sustainable our careers will be as freelancers. The first way to make money no matter the economy is that you always need to be willing to pivot. You need to be flexible. Now, I meet so many freelancers who really feel set on offering one service. And I think that's fine, makes sense. That's the way we're used to doing things because if you had a 9 to 5, you had a very clear job description. Maybe you like that predictability. Maybe you like doing one specific thing. But I'm also guessing that if you're a marketer or a creative, you have a lot of skills and you have a lot of skills that you can utilize in different ways. If you're a graphic designer, your only skill isn't making social media graphics. Maybe you can also create animations for videos. Maybe you can also design websites. Maybe you can also teach people graphic design or do brand audits. There's a lot of things that we can offer. And being willing to pivot is huge for freelancers. And it's actually exciting because think about it this way, okay? 9 to 5 workers have two options during a downturn. They can get laid off or they can keep their jobs. But if you're a freelancer, your opportunities during a downturn are limitless. You just have to be ready to pivot. As a freelancer, you are a business owner. And what do business owners do during a downturn? They pivot. They listen to what their customers need and they meet that need, right? So maybe that means that you have to offer something different. You have to do it in a different format. You have to change the way that you bill. You have to even pivot to a different industry. But that's the great thing about being a freelancer, and especially a freelance marketer or creative, is that our skills translate across industries, across businesses, across different types of clients. So it's actually really exciting to think that there is someone who can pay you no matter the economy. Your skills are valuable no matter the economy. Now, do you have to know how to position them? And do you have to know how to structure your offer? And do you have to know how to provide real value and real results to your clients? Yes, obviously, of course. As a freelancer, I'm never going to tell you that you can be successful just by existing. You have to provide real value and real results to your clients. But if you can do that, and I know you can, if you had a corporate job, you've already shown that you have that experience, then you will be able to succeed no matter the economy. Okay, so let's talk about an example of this, right? So I offer SEO strategy to my clients, but if they decided they didn't have the budget anymore and they wanted to bring it in-house, well, maybe I would decide to pivot and I would see, okay, my clients have a smaller budget. They can't pay me $10,000 a month anymore. So what's an offer that is more like $1,000 a month? And so I realized, okay, I'm going to offer to my clients, I'm going to train their teams on a monthly basis and offer my services as an editor. And I can do that for $1,000 a month. This offer comes from an understanding of my clients. When we think about content marketing teams, they often struggle to train their writers, to train their team members. They struggle to find time to edit articles, and so it creates a huge bottleneck. So with this knowledge, I decide that I'm going to offer, package to my clients. It's only $1,000 a month. That's something they can easily afford. It still provides a high value, a concrete value. And so I can sell that. And I can sell that to tons of people because it is a smaller offer. And that's what the economy might demand at that moment. Maybe the economy really can't support a $10,000 a month offer. Maybe the companies that I want to work with really can't afford that. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to lower my prices. And it doesn't mean that I can't still make money. We can always be flexible. We can always pivot. So I can create an offer that still is in alignment with the amount of money I want to earn, the amount of hours I want to work. I'm not becoming resentful, right? It's something that still gives me joy to deliver to my clients, but it's something that they can also afford. So we're kind of creating a match between what I want to offer, what lights me up, what I want to get paid, and what the client can afford. The other thing I want you to realize here is that sometimes we don't even know what our clients can afford. So right now I do have a client that pays me $10,000 a month and they are in the tech industry. And so this really busts down the idea that the tech industry is failing and they don't have budgets. No, trust me, they have hella budgets. They have hella money, Okay. So I found the client that was ready to invest in SEO, that had a need that I had a relationship with, and I took a leap of faith by proposing a project at $10,000 a month on a recurring revenue, a recurring retainer. And so the idea that, again, there that we have this blanket statement that the tech industry is failing, or that the economy is in a downturn, or that we're in a recession, it's just simply it's too simple, honestly, right? Like, there are people, you can find people in every industry at every level of business who have money and want to invest in your services. You just have to find that person and also create the offer and offer it in a way that makes sense for them. So, and a lot of that is trial and error, and that's the fun part about pivoting, is sometimes you have to pivot a lot to find that match, and sometimes it takes time, but it's possible, and you can get there, again, if you just show up consistently and you put yourself out there and you talk to people. I always tell my coaching clients, the freelancers that I teach, like, you cannot create an offer in a vacuum. You cannot decide what freelance service you're going to offer in a vacuum. You need external feedback to create an offer that is going to sell, right? You cannot just like come up with something and put it out there and expect it to sell. That's like a company developing a software with literally no user testing, with no market research. You can't do that. The product will fail unless you get super lucky. But the better way to go about it is just to meet with a ton of people, reach out to your network, talk to people in your network, set up coffee chats. I'm going to talk about this more in a second. But just like talk to people and get an idea of what they need, and then build your offer, build your services based on that. And the other part of this, the other part about pivoting is really about taking ownership. When we talk about the economy, I think that some people really like to talk about it and, to be honest, complain about it, because it allows them to give up some of their power and to be a victim. And when you're a victim, you don't have to take uncomfortable action. You don't have to take responsibility for your situation. It's really comfortable. But when you recognize that, actually, yes, there are people who will pay me, but it's my job to find them, that's really powerful, and it does put a burden on you, because now the burden is on you to go out and find that person, to choose who you want to serve, to meet with them. So before I landed at where I am today, where, I have clients paying me $10,000 a month, I have my services like perfected, I found my niche, that took a ton of time, right? I had to really almost like interview a lot of different types of clients. I worked with so many different kinds of people before I landed where I'm at. And you know what? Who I serve might change one day if I get bored or I decide this doesn't feel aligned anymore. But the truth is, like, the point I'm trying to make is that you can choose to serve the people who have the money and who have the budget. You don't have to default to serving this one type of person just because maybe that's where your work experience is at. Maybe your work experience was with small businesses, but right now the small businesses that don't have money. Well, that doesn't mean you have to accept less money. It means you need to pivot. It means you need to explore other options. You might discover a whole new passion. You might discover a whole new exciting service that you can offer. But again, you really have to just get out there, put yourself out there, and do the work of figuring that out, of meeting with people, of listening, doing your part. It's not going to just fall in your lap, And that's why I said this idea of being able to make money no matter the economy, it's a skill that you build over time. Again, you are a business owner. Like, sometimes I don't like to say that, because I know that a lot of people who freelance, they don't really necessarily get into it because they want to be entrepreneurs. They get into freelancing because they don't like the corporate world and they want to just have more freedom. But the truth is, as a freelancer, you are a business with customers. And so sometimes that means you have to get to know your customer and then meet their needs. And that's just the truth of it. That's part of it. And honestly, it's so fun. It's so fun. Trust me. If you can just take some of the pressure off, Put yourself out there. Just focus on talking to people. I feel like I've said that so many times now, but I'll leave it there. All right. Just remember, you're a business owner with a service, a product to offer, and you need external feedback to decide what that's going to be. You cannot develop your product or service in a vacuum. The next way you can make money, no matter what the economy is by really providing more value. It's by elevating your role as a freelancer. So a lot of freelancers that I meet, they're really just doers. They're at the doer level. Even if they have years of experience, when they get into freelancing, they realize that the easiest way to get started is by just providing a service, by doing. And by that I mean designing a social media graphic or writing a blog post or editing a video. These are all important things. But doers are also the people who get cut during hard economic times because they're easy to replace. And especially in this day and age with artificial intelligence and with all of the labor that's available from overseas, like virtual assistants or, offshore labor, I think it's called. Like, it's easy to get people who can do the doing. If you want to be successful long-term as a freelancer, I would really encourage you to think about how you can elevate your role, how you can add more value. So, for example, who is more likely to get laid off by my client? Who is more likely to have a contract in? A freelance writer who just does what the client says, the client has to create a brief for the article, then they write the article and they send it back to the client? Or is it more likely that someone who provides an entire comprehensive strategy, does all of the planning, is highly skilled, is more connected to driving the results because they're creating the whole plan? Who is providing more value and who is less likely to actually get laid off during an economic downturn? I would say it's the person who's doing the doing, right? Because if we think about it this way, companies bring in freelancers, as I said earlier, because they need a specialized skill set. The truth is, anyone can write a blog post. And even for graphic design, Canva is coming out with their own AI. These basic skills are going to get replaced and they're going to be able to get done in cheaper ways. So again, if you want to be successful, no matter the economy, I would encourage you to build your skills or actually believe that a lot of you, if you're like me, you have skills that you might not even really be recognizing, that you might be underestimating. I mean, I know that when I started offering SEO strategy, I was kind of nervous, right? I was like, oh, I don't know, this is a lot of pressure. But the truth is, you probably created strategies and you probably did strategic work. You solved big problems in your corporate job. But that wasn't really recognized. And so you kind of learned to underestimate it or downplay it. But the truth is that those strategic problem-solving skills, your ability to create a brand or a marketing strategy, those are really valuable and really important skills that will be more likely that people will pay for them in an economy than someone who is just doing the doing. So if you want to make money, no matter the economy, elevate your skills, elevate the value you provide as a freelancer. Don't just be a doer who does. Be a strategic problem solver. Be irreplaceable is what it really comes down to. So, and one way you can do that that's very concrete, the last thing I'll say about this is by just increasing your skills. I did a lot of self-teaching when it came to learning about SEO strategy. I taught myself. So you can do that. It's okay. And it's actually kind of fun. And that's one of the fun parts about freelancing is you can always learn new skills and then you get to put them into practice with your clients. So I mentioned relationships and networking. And this is absolutely one of the best ways to make money no matter the economy, because the more people you know, the more potential clients you have, and the more likely that you will know someone who has money when there's an economic downturn. If I have 100 prospects in my inbox, if I have 100 potential clients, then I bet one of them is still able to hire me even if it seems like the economy is going downhill. But if I only know 10 people, then it's more likely that they're all being impacted, right? It seems pretty obvious. So how do you always be building your network? How can you nurture your relationships? Well, I love going to in-person networking events. I will caution you though, your time is valuable. So unless you're just going for the social aspect, make sure you focus on networking events that will potentially have the type of client that would want to hire you. So, for example, in Atlanta, I love going to this event called Women in Tech because it's a lot of marketing professionals, a lot of women in the tech industry. And those are clients that I want to work with. And those are the type of people who hire freelancers. But when I just go to the young professionals of Atlanta, there's not anyone there that's going to hire me because they're young professionals. I don't really think there's a lot of like chief marketing officers there who want to hire an SEO strategist. So just be aware of that and try to find high quality local networking events. The other way I love to do this, the other way I love to build my network is by just having what I call coffee chats. You don't always have to be selling. Not everyone you meet has to turn into a client. So if there's people in your industry that maybe you have a mutual connection with on LinkedIn, or maybe they're like an old friend from college that you see is working at a dream company now, or maybe they're just someone cool that you happen to follow on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, you can reach out to them. Did you know that? I'm giving you permission right now. You can literally just reach out to them and say, hey, like, I think it's so cool. We're in the same industry. Would you be open to having a coffee chat? And I like to include a specific date. So you can say, hey, I noticed we work in the same industry. That's so cool. Say something personal so they know you're not like a robot reaching out. Would you be interested in meeting for a coffee chat like on Tuesday? Just to get to know each other, no sales, genuinely just looking to connect with people in my industry. And you could say it like that, and it's such a great way to honestly make friends because freelancing can be lonely, to genuinely connect with people, and then to maybe even meet some potential clients. But I really love just making that a habit that I do. When I started, I would do it like almost every day, find a couple of people to reach out to. Now I do it on more of a monthly basis because my network is pretty full right now. I got a lot of client work going on. Ultimately, just remember that even if someone isn't a client today, they could be tomorrow or next year or next week. So just be a genuine person, build relationships. I mean, like I said, freelancing can be a lonely road. So like, I think one of the most fun parts though is that means that it gives you the opportunity to meet so many different kinds of people and business owners and marketers and company founders, things like that. So always be expanding your network, and that will equip you if the economy ever does go downhill. This one's more about protecting yourself regardless of the economy. And this one is short, but basically it's just about how you format your contracts. Once I've been working with a client for a while, I really want to make sure that I stabilize my income. With my biggest clients, I have a 60-day cancellation notice. So that way, if a significant chunk of my revenue is going to disappear, they have to give me a 60-day notice. So they have to pay for 2 more months. So that gives me a runway to be able to look for new clients. And honestly, guys, that's way better than when a company lays you off, because a company can lay you off with no severance, or usually I think it's like a month's worth of severance. I think when I got laid off in 2020, I only got like 1 paycheck. You can build these cancellation notice into your contracts with clients who give you recurring revenue. And then that kind of leads me to the other one, which is just focus on getting recurring revenue. Build long-term relationships with clients, and this will protect you from the highs and lows of the economy. And because it kind of makes the client commit to you, like being in a relationship. I mean, like when you're dating, you always want the person to give you a label and say, we're in a committed relationship. But sometimes they hesitate to do that because they want to have the ease of breaking up or of not seeing you for a week when they meet someone new. And so putting your clients into a retainer is kind of like putting a label on it, right? They are committing to you on a monthly basis so that, let's say, their budget does go down, but because they know that there's a cancellation notice in your contract, they're actually going to keep you around and not assign you a project that month because they're already committed to you. It just kind of like builds a better relationship between you and the client because there's that reliability on both sides. And the last one is if you are working with clients on a project basis, you need to work towards getting paid up front. Now, I understand if you're new to freelancing or if this is the first time working with a client, they might hesitate to pay you up front, especially if it's a larger contract. So that's why I say work towards getting paid up front. You can always take a deposit instead. So when I started, I did like a 50% deposit, and then the remaining was due at the end of the project. But I really, really encourage you to just always get paid up front, because that way, if you do a project and then the client is like, oh, the economy, you're like, okay, but you already paid me, so that's great. And that way you don't have to waste any time chasing invoices. All right, the last one, the last way to really earn money no matter the economy is don't focus on the negativity. Stay away from it. Unsubscribe, unfollow, mute the people who are investing in this drama around the economy, around the news. Don't build relationships or deepen those relationships with people who are really in victim mode, who are just constantly complaining about the economy. Because if you do that, what you focus on grows. We know this. If I focus on the negativity, I just get more and more irritated, more and more frustrated, and then it seems like everything is falling apart, and then everything does fall apart. It's like the idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you step away from that negativity and that drama, then I believe you will be able to see more of the opportunities around you, because that's what has happened to me. I actually made a post on my Instagram recently. I really fired all my coaches and my business tripled. But besides firing my coaches, which coaching is great, but at that moment in my life, I really needed to tap into my intuition. So I stepped away from coaching, but I also stepped away from a lot of relationships that were just bringing so much negativity to my life. And as soon as I did that, it was like the world opened up. I saw so many opportunities. I got so creative about ways to bring in money. So just remember that the drama and the negativity and the worry, it's not going to get you anywhere. But showing up every single day and taking action is going to get you everywhere that you want to be. The only thing you can control, regardless of the economy, is how you show up every single day. The only thing you can control is your consistency. You can reach out to clients. You can show up on social media. You can do what you need to do on a daily basis to help your business grow, to help your business remain stable. But worrying about things outside of your control is not going to help you in any way. It's just not useful. So I hope this helped, guys. My main takeaway for you is that now is an amazing time to start freelancing. And whether you're, working a 9-to-5 or you were laid off, like I know a lot of people have been, remember that the economy is doing better than you think. The stats that I mentioned are going to be linked in the show notes so you can see for yourself, but marketing budgets are increasing. And that means that those people are hiring freelancers. So you can do this, and you can make money regardless of the economy by using the strategies I mentioned. Let me know, guys, if this episode helped you. I would love it if you shared it with someone that you know that's mentioned freelancing. I would love it even if you posted it on your Instagram story and tagged me. I'm really trying to get the word out about the podcast. Any follows, any ratings or reviews you want to leave on the podcast too would really help me out. I would be so grateful. And last thing I'll mention is the sign up for a new free audio program I'm doing all about mindset is also open. So that link will be in the show notes. You can sign up. It's called the Freelance Mindset Reset, and it's all about really helping you shift your mindset around a lot of these things like the economy, but also the way that you approach work, the way that you see time. Maybe you get negative thoughts or you're really overwhelmed about freelancing. All these things can keep you stuck. And so the mindset reset is going to help you shift your mindset so you can start taking action. I'm going to give you so many amazing strategies just to kind of reset the way that you think about some of these things that keep people stuck. So the link to sign up for that is in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening today, and I will talk to you very soon. Okay, bye.